Good morning, everybody. It's Penny Wild, the Black Pen. 2 days ago, I decided to post on my YouTube, on my Facebook, on my Twitter, X, and on my WhatsApp. Let me read this post. If I made a video talking about my personal life, my studies, my career, and my online work, what question would you like for me to answer? Please feel free to go as wild as you want, your regrets with the questions, and thank you in advance. So I've decided to make a video for each of the platforms. This is for YouTube. The questions I got 51 questions on YouTube. Got a lot of questions on Twitter. I've got a lot of questions on Facebook. I'm going to make a specific video and post on Twitter. I'm going to make a video. I'm probably going to go live on Facebook to go through those as well. I won't get through all of them, but I'll go through as many of them as possible. I've disabled the live chat, and I'd like to encourage you guys, if you want to make comments, please go and do that under the formal standard comment section so that it's easier for me to read your comments and to be able to respond to them as well. By the way, this was inspired by Ursula Mariani of the Conversation Capital. I sat with her on Convo, and that episode is going to be coming out, I think, in 2 weeks' time, if I'm not mistaken. So some of the questions that have been asked here, I answer there. And if I do bump into some of them, I'm going to say, look, I answered them there, so you'll get your answer there. But moving forward, I think I'm going to stick to answering your questions here on this platform where you guys watch me, to make sure that I give you guys as much value as possible. Thank you for the questions. By the way, as scary as some of them are. The Real All-Round Culture TV. No offense, Penzo. You know that means there's going to be offense. But I would like you to explain more on how did your businesses fail, considering that you're an accountant by profession. Couldn't you have seen that some of the financial decisions you took are going to lead your business to failure? Because I saw how you were interrogating Likao. This is Likao Sehuan of Drip on the Hustlers Corner a few years back. And it turned out that you were right. So how were you blindsided, especially with the knowledge that you possess? Damn. The answer to this question is going to be on Convo with Ursula Mariani, and I don't want to steal the thunder of that answer there. Pegasus. Penwell, have you ever considered collaborating with your brother, my brother Penson, and guys like Zimasa, which is Zimasa Vabaza Mustafa, and Lebo Lion to start a dope, creative 360 communications/ad agency? I think you guys would kill it with your skill sets, and this is a really great piece of advice. My brother does work in the advertising marketing space. Zimasa Vabaza has worked in the space, and I believe Lebo Lion is a guru in marketing as well. So Pegasus, thank you for the suggestion. And I guess it's something for my brother Zimasa and Lebo Lion to maybe speak about and to look into. How do we either create our own agency or communication initiative, or how do we collaborate with the ones that exist, especially considering that as content creators, we are actually in the business of selling advertising space. You may believe that you're in the business of content, but the reality is that we are here on YouTube, which is under Google, which has AdSense then sells ads on here so that we can be paid. If this was not monetized, if I was not part of the partnership program, then I could argue that I'm in the space of content creation, but we're actually in the business of selling ad space. Blue Chill. How did you start your business or your businesses step by step, if you can? Please, Penzo. This is a very, very detailed question, and I won't be able to go step by step. I will answer this to Blue Chill. I was never really big on money growing up. I was about impact and changing the world and all those beautiful fairy things that we are taught. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad in 2006, and it changed my life and it changed my mind around money as a concept. And ever since then, I wanted to build my own business. The first formal business I would build would be in 2012, which was called Penwell's Fish and Chips. It was inspired by Porto's Fish and Chips, which is a very big fish and chips brand in Newcastle, my hometown in KwaZulu-Natal. From there, I started looking into so many other entrepreneurial ventures, whether it was selling t-shirts, even after I'd written books, I started selling my books, hosting events. I went into logistics, a removals business. I went into meter taxis and so many others. I've chronicled some of my business journeys in books, my books like Fuck Fear, my books, Passive Income, my book, The Rise and Fall of the NSC. I speak about some of that. Maybe at some point it would be worthwhile for me to write another book where I go into almost all of the ventures I've gone into, what inspired the venture, how I started it, how it went, potentially how much money I made, why I collapsed the business or why it ended. Maybe that could be worthwhile, and do it as short as possible with a few lessons as well out of there. Maybe that could inspire a lot of other kids to start some of these businesses and maybe turn them into a success. Pearl, girl for you. Hey, Penwell, 3 questions. Number 1, what do you do to stay motivated? Number 2, are you a millionaire? With the spying class emoji. Number 3, are you willing to stay in this country forever, or are you planning to relocate in the future? Number 1, what do you do to stay motivated? I'm out in the streets and I meet inspiring people. And once I find people that are progressive, forward-thinking, that have a good energy, I'm always around them. When I'm feeling low, I visit those people. When I'm feeling low, I go to spaces that are buzzing. You know, when you go to markets, when you go to university campuses, there are so many optimistic people that believe they are going to be billionaires and millionaires, are going to change the world. So that's one of the ways I stay motivated. I read where I can. I watch the type of content of people that are innovators and game changers and unicorns. So that motivates me. Another thing is, of course, speaking to and spending time with my children, man, is one of the things that gives my life purpose. And then I also reflect on my own life, some of my wins, especially my wins. What have I done in the past that I think is really, really dope? I'm like, if I could do that, then I can do anything. That's number 1. Are you a millionaire? The short answer is no. The longer answer is yes. The short answer is no, is because the definition of millionaires is so varied depending on who you ask. Is a millionaire someone who has R1 million in the bank? If that's the case, then my answer is no. My answer is no. By the way, just as a short tip, if you're in the business of making money, your money should never be sitting still. It should always be working. Money is like a soldier. If you get a rand, that means you've been gifted with a soldier. You must send that soldier out to go and recruit another soldier. So your money should never be sitting. And the richest people in the world not only have their own soldiers, they use other people's soldiers to go and recruit soldiers for them. We call that debt, or good debt. They're going to use other people's money to go and make more money for themselves. And even when they've made money for themselves, they take other people's money, they take their own money, they send those soldiers out to go and make money. So you shouldn't have R1 million in the bank. But if you're that rich, you could have R1 million in the bank. I don't have R1 million in the bank, so I'm not a millionaire by that definition. Am I a millionaire by definition of making over R1 million a year in income, over having assets that are worth over R1 million? Then I tick those boxes. So then I could be defined as a millionaire. But in terms of having R1 million in the bank, no. Number 3, are you willing to stay in this country forever? Or are you planning to relocate in the future? Currently, I'm not planning to leave South Africa. South Africa is one of the greatest countries on earth. Johannesburg in particular is a brilliant city. I'd add Cape Town there. I'd add Durban there. Brilliant, brilliant cities. We have other beautiful cities in the country, by the way. The cost of living here comparatively is very low. The people that you meet here are really awesome. We have freedom of speech. We have freedom of movement if you have the money. And you can almost become anything you want here. South Africa is like a mini United States of America. You can build anything you want here. And that's the reason why there are so many wealthy non-South Africans here, because this place is literally the land of milk and honey, as it were. So I'm not planning to leave at all. But I always think of traveling to beautiful cities around the world that will inspire me in various ways and that can help me share my experiences with you guys. Mo.B, Mob or Moby. What's the reason you don't go back to banking besides being able to generate some sort of money online? This was one of the questions I answered on Convo, and I'll leave that to be answered by Convo in the next 2 weeks. Luyanda Prince, personal and wild in inverted commas. Luyanda Prince asks 7 questions. And their closing is, bro, I really have a lot of questions, but for now, I'll keep it here. Thank you, Luyanda. I'll try and answer all of these as quickly as I can. Number 1, what was your first salary? My first formal job was working for game stores. I just finished writing my matric exams. I went to go and apply. I was 17 years old. I went to go and apply to work at game stores. I wrote their test and I went to go and work at game stores. If I'm not mistaken, I may have been earning 12 Rand an hour. I'm not sure. I may have been earning 12 Rand an hour. We fast forward to 2010, when I started working for my mentor, Vuyo Jack, under a company called Africa Empowered. And I was earning 12,000 Rand a month from him. He asked me to set my salary because I asked him to give me a job. I said, look, I think I need 12,000 to get by. He paid me 12,000. From there, I'd go and I'd work for ABSA head office as a credit risk analyst. And I think my salary may have gone up from 12,000 to maybe 25,000 Rand a month, if I'm not mistaken. So those may be my first formal salaries. Sorry, just need to open this again. Luyanda Prince, cool. How did you grow yourself from it, from my first salary, I guess? And I guess you asked this question because you're looking for advice for yourself. Many people don't know their worth, sadly. And what normally happens is whatever industry you go into, you are taught about market related. What I'd prefer that you guys do, if you can, figure out your work. How much income does it bring into the business that you're in? Even if it's your own business. You can be a lawyer, you can be an accountant, you can be an engineer. But in the business you're in, your work, how is it priced out there? The companies that you guys are servicing, how much do they pay for you per hour? You may find that you're an accountant. When you do your salary per month, you're actually making 100 Rand per hour. But you might find that your company is billing you at 800 Rand per hour. Once you have that idea of you get billed at 800 Rand per hour, figure out how much it costs you to stay in the business, the marketing of the business, and then you'll figure out how much your worth is. It might be 300 Rand an hour, and it becomes easier to then negotiate out there. But you do good work, you keep a portfolio of evidence, and then you constantly negotiate in good faith. You don't fight. You're like, look, I think I'm bringing in this much value into the business. I'd like to negotiate for a higher salary and then take it from there. And then always go for job interviews where you can, so that you can see how much other people value you, at what worth they value you. Number 3, some of the mistakes you've made financially. Luckily, I've never been materialistic, so I can't say that I went out and bought all these expensive things. I don't drink, I don't smoke, so I've never spent money on those things. I don't do drugs. Financial mistakes I've made: investing in small businesses where I'd not done enough due diligence. Investing in human beings that I just trusted because they were good people and losing that type of money. Investing in industries that I'd maybe not done a deep dive into because I saw someone who was making money in those spaces, but I hadn't really figured out how the money flows. Outside of that, man, jumping into opportunities that had not been proven to make money for me. So maybe leaving a job prematurely because I wanted to become an entrepreneur. That could be considered a money mistake. And not listening to more stories of failure. Listening to too many stories of success is very dangerous. You should listen to more stories of failure because there's a lot of value in that. Number 4, if you were given a chance to start again, would you have chosen the same career? By career, I'm guessing, would I have studied the same qualification, which was accounting and economics? The short answer is no. I would have probably gone into music. I would have become a qualified musician, played instruments, probably the piano, and probably had my voice as an instrument. If not music, I would have probably gone into visual arts. I would have studied art, not because I think studying art is important. It's really not. But because it gives you a platform into art galleries. It gives you a platform into art buyers. So just by having a visual arts qualification, a Bachelor of Fine Arts, you get a foot into the world of art galleries and art buyers. And I would have become a professional visual artist. That's what I probably would have studied. Not even in retrospect, it's what I wanted at that time. Looking at where the world is now, if I could go back in time, I would have studied IT. I did computer science and information systems as part of my course package. And I was given an opportunity to continue my studies because I did so well in computer science. And I was like, nah, dog, I don't even want to be here for long. But technology is something that has changed the world. And I think if you have children that are going into school, look into where the world is potentially going. Is it going into cryptocurrencies? Is it going to digital online marketing? Is it going into AI? See if your children can jump on that curve for the future, but always keep the base subjects, whether it is basic financial literacy, whether it is learning basic science, basic engineering, and the likes. That can always be valuable as well. In terms of career, what I'm doing now, I really love what I'm doing now. I get to be on platforms, I get to speak, I get to share information, I get to meet amazing people. So if I had a chance, which I do, I could literally start my life again tomorrow. I could go back to banking, I could go into advertising, I could go into formal media, I can go into politics, I can go back into like business. So my life is really, really dope and I'm very free. So that's really cool for me. Number 5, based on your experience, how would you advise a 25-year-old man just starting off their career in corporate? The answer to that is very, very long. But I will tell you is this: learn as much as you can. Try and meet as many of the senior managers and executives, not just in your company, but everywhere where you can, and ask them very straightforward, basic questions. Attend the networking sessions, attend the cheese and wines, travel as much as you can, and do a deep dive into business. Meet as many people as possible. I think Jack Ma speaks about in your 20s, work for somebody, but work for somebody who's built something great. It doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. It can be someone who's built a great career in corporate. Work under that person and learn as much from them as possible. Ask questions, study them, read between the lines, and then in your 30s, start building your career as much as you can. Number 6, I take you as a mentor personally, although over social media. Thank you so much. From the businesses you've started, I guess, which one would you advise me to start if I were to follow in your footsteps? Oof, this is tricky. Small business investment. Take, depending on how much money you make, 5,000 Rand if you can afford it, 10,000 Rand if you can afford it per month. Attend entrepreneur sessions. Selebogo Mulive runs Share the Codes. If you look up Share the Codes online, he used to run the hookup dinner. He has all these young kids that are entrepreneurs that are looking for funding. I think Andile Kumalo, I'm not sure if he still does his regular entrepreneur meetups. You can look up Andile Kumalo. And wherever you can, man, young entrepreneurs online, look at kids that are marketing their businesses. Reach out to them. And where you can, don't invest, because people don't know what investments mean. Loan them money, but loan them at like a dirt cheap rate. So that what happens is you build a relationship with them, you get access into their insights and into their business, and where possible, you can then add value. So if you can do something that I've done, take 5,000, 10,000 Rand a month, take 1,000 Rand a month, try and find small businesses, be like, hey, I'd like to loan you 500 Rand. I'd like to charge you 20 Rand interest per month. Bro, why? I want to learn about your business. I want to be involved. I want to come to the business and work on weekends. I want to see how I can add value. And if you can do that for 5 to 10 businesses, depending on your time, you will learn a lot about entrepreneurship without carrying that much risk. And if you can, you'll hopefully make a bit of money in those cheap loans and then take it from there. Number 7, at what age did you make your first R1 million and how? I was 29 years old. I speak about this in The Rise and Fall of the NSC, my book, if you guys would like to get a copy. I was running an investment company at the time. I was doing microloans. I had meter taxis. I had removals trucks. This wasn't making me a lot of money, but I was buying and selling pigs. I was buying and selling cows. And I was investing in other small businesses at the time. But the investment business itself brought a lot of money. And the money I was generating in some of those ventures were making me over 100,000 Rand per month in revenue. Nino Niels. Hey, Penwell, I really enjoy your content and podcast. Have you ever thought about taking the podcast on the road or doing more live shows? If not, what's been holding you back from doing that? This was one of the questions that I was asked and that I answer on Convo. So I'm going to leave that answer for them. Nozolile Mbikane. Do channel members pay a decent amount of cash? For me, not so much. I think I make about 1,000 to 2,000 Rand per month from the channel members, but I think other people probably make more. What I will say is this: you need to be as strategic as you can about how much you charge per month, okay? And then you need to make sure that there's some type of benefit. Not a lot of people have money. The idea of just giving you 100 Rand, which is like a Netflix subscription every month, is really someone that really likes you. It's a lot of money. People don't pay for like newspaper subscriptions every month. People bum off other people's DSTV. People bum off Wi-Fi. So I'm bumming off Wi-Fi. I'm watching movies pirated. Why am I giving this guy 100 Rand, 200 Rand per month? It must mean you genuinely believe in me and what I'm doing. There isn't a lot of money to make there. But for content creators like myself, the challenge is, what value are you offering? Because if someone is like, this guy gives me 500 Rand worth of value in terms of the network, in terms of the education, in terms of the events, in terms of discounts, I'll gladly pay that money. Gladly, because I get so much more. I think it may have been Vusi Tembewayo who spoke about how you make a sale is that you convince the person with money that the money they are giving you is worth less than what you are giving them. Once you understand this psychology, I'm giving you 10 Rand to buy, let's say, a cup of tea. That's because I believe the tea is worth more than this 10 Rand. That's why we speak about supply and demand, because in a desert with no water, you might have 500 Rand in your pocket and someone has a liter of ice cold water. Is this 500 Rand in your pocket worth more than this liter of water, depending on the scarcity? Or is this water worth 10,000 Rand? You're like, bro, I will give you this 500 Rand. So once you can understand that psychology, I think it's very important. So the challenge to me is, how do I give you guys value that is worth more than not just watching, not just subscribing, not just liking and sharing, but saying, I will go over and above and beyond that. And I will give a super thanks in your video. And I will give money as a paying channel member. But Pen, give me the value. Show me the money. Show me the value so that I can give you the money very comfortably. For some of you, the value may not even be for yourself. It may be, look, Pen, I see you doing charity work. I see you running soup kitchens. I see you donating schools to children, school shoes to children. I see you donating blankets to the needy. Because of that, the work that you're doing is more valuable than what I have in my pocket. Therefore, I will give you 100 Rand per month to go and do this good work for people out there. And that's how you can then get people to pay more money to your channel. Let's see, how long have I been going for? 22 minutes. Okay, I'll go for maybe 10, 15 more minutes. Umo Mabo. I apologize if I'm messing up the pronunciation. Do you consider yourself to be a male chauvinist or believe in masculinism? Every time I watch your videos, I sense such energy. Exactly how a feminist feels about men. You feel that way towards a female. It's an off-ramp, but how tall are you? Let me start with the easier one. I'm about 1.76 meters. I'm not the tallest guy out there, but I'm also not the shortest guy out there. I'd say for a South African man, I'm relatively standard height. This is across races, white, black, Indian, colored. I'm just an ordinary height guy. I've met a lot of people that have been like, yo, you're much taller than I thought. But I think I get more people who are like, hey, you're shorter than I thought. I'm like, that's because I'm tall where it matters. No, I'm kidding. I think maybe my personality online, or maybe just the visuals, might make me look a certain way based compared to how I might look in terms of height. Do I consider myself a male chauvinist? And I've been accused of this, and it's very sad for me. I do not consider myself a male chauvinist, but I do understand why some people could say that. I've criticized specifically women a lot online, and it's because a lot of women are not held to account. I think female accountability is lacking in society, and I have huge respect for women who take accountability. He broke up with me, he cheated on me, he abandoned me and the child. He is wrong, but I would like to take accountability for where I may have did him wrong. I also cheated. I made life difficult for him with the child. I did this and that. And it's like, okay, I really like that. So I try to hold women to account as far as possible. I do the same with black people, by the way. And then many other black people be like, oh, it sounds like you suffer from black hate, like you hate black people, you bash black people. I'm like, no, I've just found that black people lack a lot of self-accountability compared to other races. And when I say this, then it comes across that way. I also need to add that I've consumed a lot of Andrew Tate in the past. I've consumed a lot of Jordan Peterson. I've consumed a lot of Stoicism, and maybe even a bit of, may he rest in peace. Who's this black guy in America that passed on? I'll get his name. But he was basically holding women to account. Oh man, this is gonna bug me. Black man, America holds women to account, passes away. Let me see if his name will come up. Kevin Samuels. That's how I search, by the way. Kevin Samuels would hold a lot of women, specifically black women, to account. So I understand. Some of the posts that I've made have been deemed controversial and polarizing, and I've had a lot of women attack me. But I'll say something like women over the age of 35 expire. And then people get upset. And I'm like, you know, this is actually what men think. And I'm vocalizing it because at that age, your chances of fertility and pregnancy are deemed high risk. It's because men are looking for younger women and the like. And I then compare it later, but then this won't trend, that a woman over 35 is the equivalent of a man over 35 who's earning 5,000 Rand. Now, that's something that women would say, oh, I don't want to be with a broke man, a man that can't provide. When women say that, men take it on the chin. They get upset, of course, but it's a reminder that, bro, women want a man that can provide. So for women, purity, body count, fertility are big. And when guys vocalize it, it's as if we are attacking women. And that's not the case. Women speak about femicide and gender-based violence, but when you look at the numbers don't hold. If anything, way less women are being attacked by men, and men attack each other much more. Women are not held to account with abortion. Women are not held account to cheating. Women are not held account until reality shows came with paternity fraud. So we raise those things because they have not been raised in the past. And then we get accused of chauvinism. I do not believe I'm a chauvinist at all. I think I'm very brutal in my honesty and my judgment of many other people, including the white population, including men themselves. But of course, what trends is the stuff that triggers the emotions of people that have never had such a spotlight shone to them. Peter Gous, who and what influences or shaped your world views? That's a brilliant question. I've probably studied most of the popular worldviews out there, the worldviews that have been set by Christianity, Islam, capitalism, white supremacy, globalization in America. A lot of the worldviews we have today are set by the United Nations, the World Economic Forum, the IMF, and the World Bank, who fund nations and get them to behave in a certain way. Sorry, let me come closer just for the lighting. This lighting is knocking me. People with money, more than anything. People would say Bill Gates and the like. I've studied a lot of these people. What sets my worldviews, you know, even after reading your 1984 by George Orwell, I've borrowed from a lot of what is deemed progressive. I like the idea of seeing human beings as different types of animals. I think we have progressed beyond race. I think we are progressing beyond gender. And I'm constantly looking at what would best serve the world moving forward. Are we best served by women who are strong doing the same work as men who are strong? Are we best served as black people getting the same funding as white people if they are progressive and innovators? Are we best served by a world where we can travel easier? Are we best served by redefining borders and nations? Are we best served by having conversations and dialogues and debates about what is best practice? So I think meritocracy then comes out as one of the things that I think we should all be striving for. And with meritocracy comes a brutal introspection and reporting of how the world is moving. You are short, you are tall, you are not pretty according to societal standards, you are not as smart according to academic standards, you have not been able to make as much money. So we need to put you in a place where you are best served based on your capabilities and your strengths. And and then you take it from there. Anyone who watches rugby will know that in the sport of rugby, there are tall guys who normally become locks. There are short guys who normally become scrum halves. There are fat guys who normally become props. There are super fast guys who normally become the wings. There are smart guys who become the scrum half, fly half, who become the decision makers and the like. And it is more merit based in terms of where they set you in terms of position. And I believe in a world that would be more suited in that. So let's say meritocracy, out of everything that I've kind of borrowed from, has sort of set my worldviews. I'm now at 30 minutes. I'm going to shut this video down, but I want to thank you guys for all your questions. I'll be doing another one of these, especially if you guys find value in them. I'm going to be doing another one of these, and I'm going to be going through more of your questions that you sent via YouTube, and then I'm going to be doing something similar for the other platforms as well. Penuel the Black Pen, have a great and blessed day. Go work hard. I love you, I believe in you, and I thank you for supporting the work that I do. Cheers.